If you want to know what resilience looks like, take a good look at Maria Coppersmith Buschman. Maria has endured severe depression, bullying, divorce, children with life-threatening health issues, poverty, and homelessness. But she has overcome them all. Today, at the age of 53, she graduates with a Bachelor's of Science in Social Work. And she does so with honors. And she hasn't just overcome difficulties, she's flourished in spite of them, as a giver and as a helper. Maria began doing community service at the age of 9 as a volunteer at her church. She spent 2 years in her 20s in the Philippines, working on public health, child immunizations, and education. Today, she volunteers for the Guardianship Alliance of Colorado and Jefferson County Schools and is an intern at Centura Health. At MSU Denver, she is president of the Social Work Honor Society and a supplemental instructional leader. Her life and work have helped thousands, and she's just getting started. This summer, she begins her master's in social work at MSU Denver with the goal of becoming a licensed clinical social worker, addressing mental health issues of adults and seniors. No doubt the profession is lucky to have her. Please join me in congratulating Maria Coppersmith Buschman, winner of the Spring 2018 President's Award.
To President Davidson, the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty and alumni, family and friends, and most of all, to the class of 2018, I'm so honored to be here. Congratulations to my fellow graduates. I have to give a special nod to the social work faculty for their unbelievable support and genuine caring, and for all of the lives that they have impacted. I also want to publicly thank Rose and Larry Buschman for your many forms of support that have enabled me to be here. And I'm not the only person here graduating today because of your concern for others. And to David Buschman and Allison Coppersmith, you know that I could not have done this without your support. And thank you to Marilee Utter and other scholarship donors. And a special thank you to Dr. Richard Kessel. I want to acknowledge my 4 children and my little granddaughter. Hi, Irie. You guys have been the inspiration for everything that I do, and you guys are what have kept me going during my darkest times. I love you more than I could ever describe. And I'm going to call out one of my children in particular right now, but it's only because of timing. As this chapter of our lives comes to a close, the end of this school year also means that thanks to concurrent enrollment here at Auraria campus, my daughter Allison, at age 17, finishes high school a year ahead of schedule and has 2 years of college completed. Furthermore, she holds the job title of Executive Event Planning Specialist at a major worldwide hotel corporation. I am proud of you, baby girl. As great an honor as this moment is not about me. This moment is about all of you and the accomplishment that it took to overachieve the barriers that stood between us and higher education. It's a celebration of all of the work and effort that it took to achieve this. And since this moment is about all of us, I also want to take a second and point out something that I think is truly amazing. Out here among these graduates, there is a mother and 2 of her daughters who are all graduating today. Tina Ramirez and both of her daughters, Stacy and Marion, are all 3 receiving bachelor's degrees today, and I think that is amazing. I I have truly needed the support that I've received from the various people because my time here at MSU Denver has been very rough. My family has been pulled apart in various ways, and there has been so much loss. While I've been a student here, one of my sisters died, my favorite nephew died, my mother died, and my little brother was murdered just last Christmas. And that's just the beginning of the things that I've had to deal with while I've been a student here. I've truly had my dark nights of the soul as a student, and the social work faculty and students have become like family to me, and I love you so much. I'm told that my story is very inspiring, but we all have a story. Every single one of us has a story of harrowing experiences and seemingly insurmountable challenges. And what really amazes me is just how common our stories are across all of us. We are an us, and so I want to talk about all of us. I do have many similar points from our last keynote speaker, so I promise you, I'm not copying from her. I had this speech written a week ago, but if being like-minded with somebody like that, I'll take it. I will definitely take it. As somebody who completed an awful lot of college many years ago, and then I had to quit before I realized my ultimate dreams, and I went into business management and restaurant ownership, and I raised a family for 27 years, and I'm not done yet, and I had life kick the crap out of me over and over and over again until I lost hope of many things, including hope of ever returning to school, and then somehow I found my way back. Through all of this, I have learned some things that I wish that I had known earlier. Today, the pressures and challenges of school are behind us for a little bit. But all we're going to be doing is moving from one set of challenges to another set of challenges. If I could time travel and talk to myself and meet myself when I was younger, when I was the age of many of you, I would have some things that I would like to share that I think may have made life easier. And some of those are what I would like to share with you today. So let's get very real here. You are going to fail. Yep, every last one of us is going to fail in some spectacular manner in one way or another. But it is not failing at something that is going to define who we are. It's going to be how we respond to failure and heartache and disappointment and uncertainty that makes a big difference in the quality of our lives and shapes who we're going to become. Most of life's heartaches and disappointments are actually really a gift. Failure is an opportunity to grow, to self-examine, to identify patterns of what works and what doesn't work, and to become better. It makes me think of the words from a song by Kanye West, where he says, "Everything I'm not made me everything I am." It's a little prophetic, and I always find that amazing. But you know, these opportunities for growth, these so-called gifts, they often show up in some very ugly and scary packages. And inside that package, there's often a world of real hurt and pain. It's extremely difficult to embrace and welcome such a gift into our lives. Believe me, I know I have had more failures than I have had accomplishments. There are people here today in this room who have experienced various types of abuse, including sexual abuse, bullying, serious family dysfunction, and painful divorce, the debilitating depression, being unfairly fired from a job, then unable to find work, which led to homelessness. I know that these people are among us because I am one of them. When I was a volunteer in the Philippines, I've even been held hostage and had a gun to my head, more than once. What I've learned from all of this is that we have very little control over the things that are going to happen to us. But we do have a tremendous amount of control over the way that those things are going to affect us. And it takes some real heart-wrenching internal work to make these negative experiences work for us rather than against us. But it's our perspective on life's problems that is a key factor. I have been asked so often where I get my resilience from that I've actually been forced to have to think about that answer. I think my resilience is a result of my perspective on all of the heartache that comes into our lives. Sarah Blakely, that young billionaire that owns the Spanx company, when she was growing up, she said her dad used to ask the children at the dinner table every night, "So, what did you fail at today?" And they'd share their failures, and he'd high-five them, and it just changed the way she came to think of failure. She started to see failure as just a necessary step along the road to success. There are 3 points about failure that I want to share with you, and I think that these make all of the difference in our lives. Without these things, I'm pretty sure I would not be standing here today. Point number one, we are all in this game of life together, okay? We have to care about what is happening with the people around us, because someday we are going to need the support of others. I want to awaken a teeny tiny bit of the social worker in each one of you. Now I know you might be thinking, what is this crazy lady talking about? I'm graduating today in industrial design, nursing, hospitality, aerospace, and aviation. I'm not a social worker. Yeah, I get that, okay? But every single one of us, no matter what our major, we all have a responsibility to promote social justice every single day of our lives. We are more intertwined and interconnected than many people realize, and what is good for your fellow human being is good for you. So when you see that homeless veteran with his or her cardboard sign, or you see that abused woman with young children who does not know how to get away from the abuse, or that child being bullied and the bully, or the teenager who's just struggling to figure out his or her gender and sexual identity, when you see the runaway youth who may be being trafficked, or that elderly random stranger who's just struggling to survive, I hope you understand that what is good for them is good for you. And if you don't understand why that's true, well, first of all, that really sucks, but I also hope that you have identified a new area for learning. Because no matter what our professional specialty, and I'm talking to everyone, no matter what your area of professional specialty, we all have accountability to the good of humanity. And we just might need for humanity to be good to us someday when we face failure. And this brings me to point number two. While we are being good to our fellow human beings, we have to be good to ourselves and be mindful of the way that we think and speak of ourselves, because the way that we think of ourselves and our role and our contribution to humanity is another huge factor in what shapes us. Be very conscious of the power of the words I am, and use those words wisely. I believe those two simple words, I am, are two of the most powerful words that any human being can ever say, because whatever follows the words I am is a creative statement and can become your reality. We become our own worst enemy when we say things like, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I'm always sick, I'm always tired, I'm fat, I'm ugly. We cannot go around disempowering ourselves with our own words, because the more empowered each one of us is as an individual, the more power we have to make this world better for ourselves and others. So in order to be a truly, truly powerful force for good in this world, we must stop being afraid of our own magnificence. What are we so afraid of? I asked my daughter that, and she said, well, if I let my light really, truly shine, she said she was afraid that other people around her might feel bad if their accomplishments haven't been as great as hers. That's not a good reason, okay? That is just not a good reason. Never hide or dim your own light because someone else might feel inferior. As long as you are sure that you are being kind, that you're not gloating, you're not putting others down, and you're not making comparisons, you cannot take responsibility for other people's feelings. There is always going to be somebody out there who doesn't like you because of your success. That is not your problem. You create absolutely nothing positive by allowing your own light and splendor to be diminished. So claim your power in the way that you use your I am. You are going to fail. And that brings me to my concluding point number 3. If we can actually embrace failure while doing those first two things I talked about, being good to others and being good to yourself, our failures can be used to inspire others and make changes in this world. But we have to be willing to accept our own brilliance. We all have experience with people who criticize us and belittle us. Have you ever noticed how people have a tendency to give time and attention to that negativity that people will throw at them? Even though nobody's under any obligation to let that negativity in, people will do that. But I've seen this happen where I will say to somebody, you know, you handled that like a rock star. You have got more compassion and strength and wisdom than you ever knew you had. And I will see that person become uncomfortable and resist hearing those words. They will be quick to reject words of praise, but very quick to soak up words of derision and criticism. If we could just flip that around, think of the powerful force for good that could result from that. I am not afraid to stand here in front of thousands of people and proclaim myself to be a freaking superstar. That's right, I'm a superstar, but I am not one teeny tiny bit more amazing than any of the rest of you, any of you. And that's not that false modesty BS that everybody hates and you can see right through it. I mean that with every fiber of my being. I see that in your faces, and I'll bet anything you can hear it in my voice. If you don't believe me that you are an amazing superstar, it's only because you have lost sight of the real truth about who you really are. And if that happens to be the case for any of you, please do the necessary internal work to discover the truth about who you really are. This world is in sorry shape right now, and so many things need to change. What this planet needs is for every single one of us to show up in our brilliant magnificence and splendor. So when you go out and fail, do it gloriously. And do it in a way that inspires others. Because along the way, you're also going to realize some amazing success that creates change in this world. And remember, people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do.